Ochi became so defensive when her younger sister Onyinye approached her with her discoveries about her. Oluchi told Onyinye that she was so disappointed that Onyinye would let people plant such evil in her heart against her own beloved elder sister. Once upon a time, in a distant village, lived two sisters known as Oluchi and Onyinye. Oluchi was the older sister, while Onyinye was the younger sister. Growing up, Oluchi and Onyinye were so close and inseparable. They played together, ate together, slept closely to each other on one bed every night, shared secrets together, and supported each other always in almost everything. Many young girls in their village envied the bond between Oluchi and Onyinye, as their bond was difficult for many people to understand. Oluchi and Onyinye looked alike so much that many people sometimes mistook them to be twin sisters. As the years went by, Oluchi surprisingly started resenting her younger sister Onyinye because of the constant love and attention Onyinye was always receiving from people in their village. Onyinye was so beautiful, very kind, and had a very generous heart. Onyinye's kindness effortlessly drew people to her, as she was so loved by everyone in their village because of her gentle nature and constant willingness to help people, especially people who were in need. Oluchi, on the other hand, was also a very beautiful lady, but she possessed a darker side than her sister Onyinye. Oluchi's character pushes her away from people, as she was a very rude girl who cared about the welfare of no one but herself. Not long after, one of the most prosperous, handsome young farmers in their village came to ask for Onyinye's hand in marriage. This development didn't go down well with Oluchi, who believed that she was the older one and deserved to get married first before her younger sister Onyinye. Oluchi somehow managed to conceal the uncontrollable rage and anger Onyinye's new marital status brought to her heart from everyone, as she joyously celebrated with everyone on Onyinye's wedding day. In Oluchi's quiet moments, she would nag and lament so bitterly because she felt it was not right for her younger sister Onyinye to have everything she deserved and desired, while she had nothing and continued to struggle with life. Meanwhile, as the pain and resentment Oluchi had for her sister Onyinye continued to grow secretly, Onyinye was busy living the life in every sense of it, as Onyinye's husband adored Onyinye a lot and treated Onyinye with utmost respect. This made Onyinye become a general envy of many women in their village who desired a love like her own. Onyinye's husband was so happy he married Onyinye, whom he usually referred to as his beautiful gift, a name reference that made Oluchi secretly boil in deep rage whenever she hears Onyinye's husband calling Onyinye that name. Many people in their village looked upon Onyinye and her husband as a model couple, as Onyinye's caring nature made Onyinye's home so warm, peaceful, and very attractive. Not long after, Onyinye and her husband gave birth to two beautiful children. This further solidified the happiness in their home. Onyinye's husband's farm also continued to thrive and grow. In a nutshell, life was heaven on earth for Onyinye in her marriage. Oluchi, on the other hand, didn't like all these good things that were happening for Onyinye, but she continued to pretend to be fine, while Onyinye naively continued to share her good and great news with her sister Oluchi, whom she thought loved her the way she loved her. One fateful day, while Oluchi was returning home from the market, she met an elderly woman. Oluchi and the elderly woman got into a very deep conversation. Oluchi, who was heavy with sadness, soon started pouring her heart and pains to the old woman. The old woman, who seemed to be a very cunning and deceptive person by nature, saw Oluchi's pains as an opportunity to cook up some mischief and havoc. The old woman went ahead to start poisoning Oluchi's heart towards her sister Onyinye. She told Oluchi to wisen up and take what rightfully belonged to her from her sister Onyinye, as all Onyinye was enjoying were meant to be hers by right. The old woman told Oluchi to try and ruin Onyinye's life so as to make a way for her own self, as the violent taketh it by force. Oluchi, who was so blinded with envy and jealousy towards her sister Onyinye, was so happy to have finally met someone that truly understood the pains in her heart. So she agreed to do all the things the old woman told her to do. Soon, Oluchi started spreading false rumors that would tarnish Onyinye's reputation in their whole village. Oluchi also arranged and paid some village hoodlums to help her poison Onyinye's husband's farm and cause him great financial ruin. As the widespread lies and fabricated stories of infidelity and dishonesty about Onyinye by Oluchi began to spread, the villagers who had always admired Onyinye started doubting Onyinye's integrity. Onyinye was so heartbroken over the widespread rumors about her. What broke her the most was the sudden change in the attitude of the people of their community towards her, especially the women. Onyinye suddenly became a shadow of herself. She withdrew herself from many social activities in her village as she was tired of how people stared at her judgmentally in public places for rumors she was not guilty of. Onyinye struggled with her sense of identity as she lost so much weight and was always crying in her quiet moments. Onyinye, however, knowing she had done nothing wrong, as was being spread about her, remained steadfast. The poison the contracted hoodlums placed in Onyinye's husband's farm caused significant damages to his crops and plunged Onyinye's home into severe hardship. These problems drove a serious wedge between Onyinye and her husband, as Onyinye's husband started breaking into rage and anger all the time, while he struggled to understand the sudden misfortunes that was befalling his family within a short period of time. Onyinye, who was a very understanding wife, always overlooked her husband's rage and anger, as she believed he was in great distress because of all that was happening to them. Onyinye rather continued to support her husband, though the pains from the strains they were passing through was also heavy on her. Their once quiet, peaceful and happy household soon became a place of tension and constant worries. Onyinye would sometimes lament her ordeals to her sister Oluchi. Oluchi will in turn offer Onyinye fake support and comfort. Meanwhile, unknown to Onyinye, Oluchi's heart was always very joyful and satisfied whenever Onyinye lamented about her crumbling beautiful family to Oluchi. Nonetheless, despite these setbacks, Onyinye remained resilient. She prayed every day to God for the strength and wisdom that will help her overcome the many challenges her family was facing. One fateful day, Onyinye's husband returned home extremely drunk, and in his drunk state, he said a lot of hurtful things to Onyinye. He blamed Onyinye for all their misfortunes, and for the first time since the ugly rumors about Onyinye started, her husband used it as a weapon against Onyinye by telling Onyinye that she was a loose woman whose wayward lifestyle brought setbacks and pains to their entire household. Those words from Onyinye's husband pierced Onyinye's heart very deeply and prompted Onyinye to resolve to seek spiritual help from their village sorcerer and see if she would be able to decipher the root cause of her family's misfortunes from their ancestors. After some consultations by the village sorcerer, the sorcerer told Onyinye that her sister Oluchi was behind her misfortunes. Those words from the sorcerer angered Onyinye, who quickly stormed out of the sorcerer's place while cursing out the sorcerer for trying to poison her bond with her sister and saying that her lovely sister was behind her misfortunes. As the days went by, Onyinye's misfortunes sadly continued to get really worse. So Onyinye decided to seek more spiritual assistance from other sorcerers from other neighboring towns to see what they had to say. Fortunately or unfortunately, the other sorcerers from 3 different neighboring towns repeated exactly what Onyinye's village sorcerer said to Onyinye about Oluchi, her sister, being the one behind her misfortunes. This broke Onyinye's heart so much as she summoned the courage to finally confront her sister, Oluchi. Oluchi became so defensive when her younger sister Onyinye approached her with her discoveries about her. Oluchi told Onyinye that she was so disappointed that Onyinye would let people plant such evil in her heart against her own beloved elder sister. Onyinye, who for a moment almost got carried away by Oluchi's words, stood her ground and continued to demand for an explanation from Oluchi, her sister, on why she betrayed her the way she did. As 4 different sorcerers who didn't know themselves cannot all be lying against Oluchi. Oluchi, after a while, eventually broke down and confessed all she had done to her sister, Onyinye. Oluchi admitted that her envy and jealousy towards Onyinye pushed her into doing the despicable things she did. Onyinye, on learning the truth from her sister Oluchi's mouth, was so hurt and very devastated. She was, however, also relieved as she got to finally identify the root cause of her problems. Onyinye and her husband went ahead to seek the help of agricultural experts who gave them an antidote they used to rectify the damages that was done to their farm by the poison Oluchi revealed to them she put in Onyinye's husband's farm that was eating up his crops. The villagers, on hearing and realizing the truth of what truly happened in Onyinye's home, rallied around Onyinye and her husband immediately. For misjudging them, especially Onyinye, they apologized. The villagers offered them a lot of support and assistance to help them get back on their feet faster. They also collectively agreed to banish Oluchi from their village forever because of her evil atrocities towards her own blood sister. Onyinye, though though deeply hurt by her sister's actions, intervened and pleaded with the villagers to forgive her sister Oluchi as she Onyinye had done, because Oluchi has been crying and begging for forgiveness since after her confession. The villagers, on hearing those words from Onyinye, decided to forgive Oluchi and give her a second chance. Oluchi was so grateful for the pardon she got from the villagers and was most grateful to her younger sister Onyinye for forgiving her despite all she did to her. Onyinye's family over time regained their prosperity back as her husband's farm started flourishing again like before, and the villagers' love and trust in Onyinye was restored back and in a bigger way. Once again, joy, peace, love and harmony returned to Onyinye's home like it was before, as she and Oluchi, her sister, who had now learnt a valuable lesson from her misdeeds, collectively started putting in work to rebuild their broken relationship with mutual love and respect over time. This is the end of my story. The moral of this story is that we should know that we can never increase the light in our candles by blowing out the light in another man's candle. The growth and progress of another person should always be a motivation point for us as humans and not a point of jealousy, envy, and wickedness. Secondly, sometimes in life, our real enemies are usually closer to us than we think. Thirdly, wickedness is not good. It doesn't matter how long one perpetuates their evil in life, someday it will surely catch up with them. Fourthly, we should always be careful where we place our ears for advice in life, as some people in this life are always out to ruin us rather than bless us with their advice. Finally, to err is human and to forgive is divine. Thank you for watching.